Look. That's me. I'm so excited. James White, a confirmed PVE. Well, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the little thing we do here on Kitchen Table TCG, where we talk about this amazing game of Flesh and Blood. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. I am very, very excited. I can't even, and I've been this excited for a long time. I can't even tell you how important I think this is. Recently in an interview with Fabled Hunters, James White in a lightning round was asked, is PVE happening? And he said, I can confirm that PVE is happening later, or something to the effect of that. So PVE is confirmed, and we kind of already, I've been saying this for months, we kind of already knew this. They did a little play test of PVE way back. I think it was like the second calling in Auckland or something like that. Anyway, way back, like a year ago, they did a test run of this like PVE format. They just said, hey, we just want to test it out with some people who, you know and love the game. They tested it out, and it was just like a sponge thing, right, where you were just attacking a sponge, and it was just like it was a very early on thing in the Flesh and Blood PVE world. And it got some hype, and then they haven't really talked about it all. So what does PVE mean? I get this question a lot in the comment section. PVE means player versus environment. Essentially, instead of a competitive game, you are either working together to fight a boss. That is what PVE is. You are working together to fight a boss. Or that boss can either be like an automa thing, so like it's played by a deck, or it can be played by an opponent. And so like there are a couple ways I think that this matters. And first off, like it Coax a Commotion, right? We kind of saw this coming with Coax a Commotion. Coax a Commotion, it pumps each player, right? So like when you read this, you're like, oh man, how do you use that competitively? There are cards built into Flesh and Blood already that kind of have these attitudes of pumping a team, almost like a Dungeons and Dragons like party, right? And so what does this mean? First off, if you haven't watched my video with Quinn Roth is a player. I'll put it wherever I put the videos, the little tags, you can click it. But like Quinn Roth played the World of Warcraft TCG PVE game, and he loved it. And that's like one of the things he fell in love with. And so if you don't understand this is why this is such a big deal. Right now, Flesh and Blood is very geared. No, this is no fault. I'm not complaining. Flesh and Blood is very much geared towards a competitive, and even now more so right now with the Road to Nationals and the callings and all this stuff. Flesh and Blood is very much geared towards like a competitive scene, and it aims, I think, to be a competitive game. Now, one of the issues with that is that the majority of people who play TCGs, and honestly, the majority of people who are watching this channel might disagree with this because you're Flesh and Blood, and right now the majority of people I think who play Flesh and Blood are interested in playing long-term and a little bit more competitively than the average TCG. But if you look at the average TCG, if you look at Pokemon, if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh, if you look at Magic the Gathering, if you look at the average TCG, the average player is not playing competitively. They don't care about the competitive scene. They might look up to the competitive scene and be like, oh man, this is cool. That's great to, get some insights. It's great to learn how to play the game at a high level. It's a great example for like this high level competitive play that I can learn some stuff and beat my friends. But the vast majority of players are going to play just at a local game store, just for on a Friday night or whatever night that the game store hosts events. And they're going to try to win their packs and try to win whatever. And that's the end of the day. Like that's what they like to do. There's not a major goal of like being a professional player. And what PVE brings to Flesh and Blood, I think, and like I think that the problem is, I think for a lot of people, they think that PVE is going to just be this add-on for Flesh and Blood. And here's the thing, LSS doesn't do things lightly. LSS doesn't come up with an idea and do it and just kind of hop in, I don't like to swear on this channel, but half-butted, right? They don't like hop in and they just do things a little bit. Like they hop in big and like they do things right. Like if LSS is going to do something, they are going to do it right. Like I know that. Like that's so confident in my mind. And so I think what LSS will do, and I know what LSS will do, is they'll look at the best ways of working in this world. And they'll say, okay, what works best? And they will do that. And so I don't think that this is going to be just this little side project. I don't. I think LSS is going to come out with a full-fledged package deal that's going to be this really, I don't want to like hype it up and then be let down, but like I think that it's going to be this thing that they've worked on, they've refined, and that they've executed really, really well. And so what I think this means is that people who don't want to play at the competitive level are going to have this new thing that's just going to be so good for the game. It's going to allow you to bring your friends over to your kitchen table and to play a game and to work together to fight a boss, so you can teach your friends how to play Flesh and Blood. It's going to utilize the Flesh and Blood mechanics in a fun way that is able, like, it's like, you know, Commander for Magic the Gathering has gotten so much more competitive over the last couple years. But originally, Commander, like, it was like, hey, show up, have fun, here's a deck to try out. It's gonna become this thing where, like, you can invite literally anyone over to your house to play the game, and, like, you might even be, like, inviting people who don't play TCGs. And that's gonna allow the game to grow, like, super well. There's a couple things that I think if you're interested in looking at the way that PVE works in a card game, obviously the World of Warcraft card game, go watch that video I did with Quinn a couple months ago. I mean, that was 5 months ago at this point that we were first starting to talk about PVE. Go watch that video. It's got a lot of information in it on what could be in a card game. Also, if you care about this stuff, do some research. There's 2 games that I would say are board games that there might be ways for LSS to incorporate some mechanics, and I'm sure they've looked at various games, but the game Scythe, let me hop on, the game Scythe has a mechanic system, actually. So this is just a little encounter deck for Scythe, but that's the game Scythe, and they have a thing called the Automa, and the Automa is like it's like a deck that like plays the game for you. Like when you pull the deck up and it says, okay, if you're playing with 3 players, move this way, and it like builds, and it's called the Automa Factory. It's a whole company. So like the Stonemaier Games has worked with this company, the Automa Factory, to incorporate this system into their game. So there's some really cool things with that. And then I really like the way that Imperial Assault, I have it over there, but it's like back behind all this stuff. Imperial Assault is a Star Wars game. It's both, so like the issue is both of these games are minifigure based, so I doubt that LSS comes out with like a minifigure based game. That's not what I want, not what I think they'll do. I mean, if they do, I'm sure they'll do it really well. Not my gut on what's going to happen. My gut is it's going to incorporate just cards, right? And but the point being here that what Imperial Assault does that I really love is it's 4 players versus 1, or 3 players versus 1, or 2 players versus 1, and that one person basically has the keys to the kingdom. Like that person knows exactly what's going to happen and is able to like and works more like a DM, right? Like it works more like a dungeon master to provide a fun environment for the other players, and I love that. Like that's like what I really would love to do. Like I would love the idea of like inviting my friends over and like basically DMing this like experience for them within Flesh and Blood. Like, oh my gosh, the lore sets up perfectly. Like LSS has done a great job of incorporating, this is where the lore comes in. Like the competitive scene people, like they probably care about the lore, but when it comes to like the cards, all they care about is mechanics. But in PvE, you're gonna care about the lore. You're gonna be able to utilize all this deep lore that LSS has created to tell stories. Like, you guys, this is huge. This is a big deal, and it's happening, and like, it's happening. It's really happening. And so here's the thing. be ready for it. I don't think it happens with Tails. Honestly, I think it's probably supplemental set, probably the next like supplemental set that comes out. I think it's really good for LGSs. If any of you guys are store owners or LGSs out there, I really think that, you know, the way LSS has said that they, you know, what they say is that they are all for the local game store. So I definitely think they will incorporate some way to like go and play this thing at the local game store and win this event. Like, I think it would be really cool if you, like, when you beat the boss, you have a little chest that you open and it's like a loot box, and like that's where like the cold foil promos are. I think everything that is done within PVE will be its own like encapsulated product. So like, I think you'll see a bunch of promos and support that aren't utilized in the non-PVE. So like, you could have really high like huge damage cards that are like really difficult, but sorry, that would be absolutely destroying in competitive, but are able to just be within the PVE thing. There's like the door is so open, and again, LSS only does things right in terms of like the game design, and like everything that LSS has done in game design has been phenomenal, and like kind of like changing the edge of like what's possible in TCGs, and like I fully expect that to happen with PVE. So my hype bar, my expectations are way up here. I don't think that LSS like does something that just kind of doesn't excite people. Like, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it right. It's gonna be fantastic. I cannot wait to talk about it. This channel will be very heavily PVE. I know, like, we do the finance, like a lot of things on the channel. We'll still do the finance videos. A lot of things on the channel will switch towards PVE. I actually, if you're still watching this, you know, 14 minutes in, I've been saving money to buy like a huge live stream setup. Like, I want to put like a bunch of, let me show you. Yeah. I want to put a bunch of, like, here's my little table, my little shipping table, right? That, you know, I play my games on. I know it's a mess right now. Like, I want to put a camera up there, and then basically through the roof of my, you know, through the drop ceiling of my house, go all the way to my stream room, and then be able to have this friend who he'd be hitting the buttons, and we'd have 4 or 5 people playing. We'd have a camera here and a camera there, and you could do like literally like a what is on like the command zone. We would be doing like a live stream version of the command zone, where like you could, like, they would have a live switcher in the back room where they'd be able to switch from the top down camera to like the face camera, and then like the top down camera would also break out into each individual. Like, it's gonna be sweet. I'm working on it. Like, when PVE happens, we're gonna hopefully have like a weekly, or, you know, maybe bi-weekly live stream where we actually go through the whole thing. It's gonna be a bunch of fun. I'm stoked. Like, I am fully all in on Flesh and Blood, but like, when PVE happens, like a little switch is gonna go off where it's like, this is now like, I gotta do something more. Anyway, hope you have a great day. I'm stoked. I can't wait. Like, I woke up this morning and I was like, all right, I gotta do a video. There's gonna be like 3 videos on the channel today. I don't know. I'm stoked. Hope you have a great day. Remember, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you later.